to Kylian Mbappe, Champions League hat-trick. Bellingham is there, and Bellingham scores.
What a night! A famous night.
Cannot wait for this. 8 o'clock, full commentary on 5 Live. Real Madrid and Manchester City will be inside the Bernabeu in a couple of moments. Already seen Erling Haaland strolling in, baseball cap on backwards. A big embrace between Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden as well. Elsewhere, Arsenal at Club Bruges, so we'll hear from Mikel Arteta in the next half hour. We'll also be across Newcastle's game against Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. Chelsea and Manchester United are in action in the Women's Champions League. We're at 2 games in the Championship, so loads going on between now and 10:30. That's when Tony Livesey will take over. You can listen to us tonight with the Champions League final score graphics and the video printer. So if you press the red button, go to iPlayer or the BBC Sport app, click on 5 Live Champions League final score. These are the sounds of the Bernabeu. John Murray, team news, scene set, whatever you fancy, really.
Well, I have to say, Steve, it's a strange old time at Real Madrid at the moment. We'll come on to that later, I'm sure. But on the pitch, we will see Bellingham and Foden on opposite sides tonight. They've already had a public hug, the England teammates. But we won't see both Haaland and Mbappe on the pitch together from the start. But we might see Mbappe later because he is named as a substitute. The Real Madrid 25-goal top scorer wasn't able to train outside yesterday, but they named him in the squad today, and he is one of the substitutes. So after their tempestuous match here on Sunday when they lost to Celta Vigo, Real Madrid make 4 changes. Militao's injured, he was injured in that match. Mbappe's on the bench, so is Arda Güler and Fran Garcia, who was one of the 4 red cards that Real Madrid received on Sunday. So Gonzalo Garcia comes in up front, just his second start of the season. Rodrigo, Ceballos and Rudiger, the other 3 to come in. Now, he does have some options, Xabi Alonso, but let me suggest it this way. Courtois in goal, Valverde, Asensio, Rudiger and Carreras, then Tchouaméni with Bellingham and Ceballos, and then Rodrigo, Gonzalo Garcia and Vinicius. And Manchester City, very straightforwardly, Pep Guardiola names the same team that started against Sunderland. So Donnarumma in goal, Mateus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Gvardiol and O'Reilly, Nico Gonzalez with Foden and Bernardo Silva, and then Ryan Cherki, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland.
Right, we will get stuck into this game once we've checked in on the team news with the other 2 Premier League clubs in action in the Champions League tonight. So Arsenal are the only team with a 100% winning record. That's 5 from 5. They're at Club Bruges. A lot of talk about Arsenal and Mikel Arteta and rotation. How much has he done, Conor McNamara?
Yeah, he's gone 5 changes from the Arsenal team that started the defeated Villa Park at the weekend. The injury problems are mounting. Some are clearly just being protected. There was always the expectation Arsenal would rotate this evening. But absent from the starting 11 are Timber, Calafiori, Rice, Saka and Eze. Christian Norgard starts. It looks like he's going to be playing centre half, which is interesting. Lewis Skelly at left back, Madueke playing in the Saka role, and Victor Gyökeres leading the attack through the centre. David Raya, remember, has only conceded a single goal in the Champions League so far, and Mikel Arteta's team could be securing their passage to the last 16 tonight if they get another win.
So looking forward to this Sunday when we will bring you Sunderland versus Newcastle on 5 Live. Tonight, Newcastle are in the Champions League. They've got a big game. They're at Bayer Leverkusen. John Akers will keep us up to date.
Big game, big week. Eddie Howe has named a strong side as Newcastle United make 4 changes from the team that played at the weekend and beat Burnley. So Lewis Hall, Sandro Tonali, Joel Linton and Harvey Barnes all come into the starting 11. Already feels like a big week in Newcastle season. Eddie Howe's side embarking on a run of 3 fixtures in 3 different competitions in 7 days, of course, with that Tyne-Wear derby thrown in. A win in Germany would see Newcastle join Liverpool, Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan on 12 points. Never quite sure what you're going to get from Leverkusen, who were beaten by Augsburg at the weekend, but the Bundesliga side have won 7 of their last 10 games in all competitions.
Champions League match of the day, 10:30 tonight, BBC One. Amongst the guests, Rory Smith and Leon Osman. Good evening.
Evening.
All right, I think you're going to have a lot of fun later, as I'm sure you always do. And we'll have a lot of fun on the radio. Nobody, Jonathan Woodgate, is enjoying tonight as much as you, though, at the Bernabeu.
Oh, can't wait for the game. Absolute classic of a game. Do you know what I'm gutted about? Mbappe's not playing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I just wanted to see him live.
Well, it's funny, Rory, that on the bench is the one place I didn't expect him to be.
Yeah.
I thought either he's injured, he won't play, or he starts.
Well, yeah, it's not important enough as a game if we're all completely honest, to risk Kylian Mbappe's health. If he's not fit enough to play, you wouldn't. It's not a semi-final. If it's a semi-final, maybe you put him on the bench just in case. There's no reason to do that here. So I think you have to take that to mean that he is fit enough to do 20 minutes, half an hour. Jonathan might get his wish.
I hope so. I hope he just makes just a little appearance, 20 minutes. I just want to see his speed and his ABS brakes.
You must have seen him live before.
I don't think I've seen him live before.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I don't think I've seen him live before, no.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're definitely in for a treat. Tell us about, so the Bernabeu, how does it look now? Because obviously you played at Real Madrid. Roof on, roof off. Does it still sort of have that same aura sitting there?
Inside the stadium it does. Outside the stadium is just completely different. They've just transformed it on the outside of it, but the inside is still a cauldron. It's still going to be full to the brim. It's starting to get full now. But it's just an incredible place to play your football.
I don't want to show off, and I'm sure John would have exactly the same sentiment, but no matter how often you go to the Bernabeu, it's really hard not to get a little tingle in your spine. It's such an amazing place to watch football. The steepness of the stands, the memories you have of it from watching it on the TV, it's a really special ground.
I was walking past it, Rory, this morning, and this is the case every time you do this. And I mean, it just looks sensational now. They've made it look unlike any other football stadium in the world. And when you walk past it, you just cannot help but look at it. You know, as you walk along, you just look at the stadium from the outside. And I think it's quite clever what they've done here, because they've kept it very similar to how it used to be. You know, when you were playing here, Jonathan, if you walked in, you'd still think it's very similar, but there are significant changes. I mean, it's been really brought into the 21st century with this incredible wraparound video that they have hanging under the roof. And also, since I've been here, they've put more, last was here in February, they've put more finishing touches to it, so they're nearly there. But there are little restaurants and bars that they've now embedded in the ground that I noticed this evening. They seem to have turned into hospitality. So they've got to
so they'll make the money, don't they?
Well, exactly. So they've got a double use, and also they're landscaping the area outside, so there's more space around the Bernabeu now that there used to be. And they're still not finished that, actually. They're still working on the main road side of it.
Presumably, Leon, it is, if not top, then top 2-3 bucket list for any professional footballer in their whole career.
To go to or to play at? I mean, they're two
at.
different things. Yeah, I mean, very few people just get the opportunity presented in their lap to go and to play at that wonderful stadium. Jonathan's very fortunate he had the talent to go and call that his home. The rest of us have to try and get the opportunity to get them in a tie or get to the latter stages. I, unfortunately, from my point of view, never got the chance to play in it. I've been to Atletico Stadium a few times and walked through the city going for a coffee, and you can't help but just be drawn to it. Just go and have a coffee sat near the Bernabeu and just sort of soak it in. And I was there last during the time when it was getting done up, and the structure was off, and it was very much a construction site whilst that was happening. It still had the aura. It still had that feeling of knowing exactly where you are. It is arguably the centre of club world football, and you know it, and the Madrid people know it as well. I'm sure the Atletico Madrid fans hate the thought that the city is and the world of football is drawn to the team that's not them in the city, but you just can't help it.
Yeah, there was a little shot of Savinho, I think, on the pre-match walk, and Bellingham and Foden had a nice little hug, and other players are sort of walking around looking around. Savinho was just on his phone, and I can't work out whether that's really impressive to not be quite an important professional thing, to not be moved by your surroundings, because that's probably quite a vital aspect of being a player. You need to keep cool, or whether it was a little bit of a just lift your head up, Steve, and have a look around. It's quite nice. You'll want to remember
to see the 14 Champions League trophies.
Yeah. What I think it's interesting there, Jonathan, as well, is that there's quite a few players in this Manchester City team who walked into it last season at, one of the lows of a low season. To go out of this competition as early as February is not something Manchester City are used to. There will be a number of City players with that in their minds tonight, presumably.
Yeah, you can guarantee that, and no one likes to get beaten in a football match, and especially how they did it here. But like you said, there's world-class players on both teams, but to watch the City players, especially Phil Foden play, and really turn up at this stadium and grab the game by the scruff of the neck, that's what I'm looking forward to most. Players like Shirky, to really get hold of the game. Him and Foden in the middle of that pitch and really start to dominate it.
I think for Manchester City, you've thought of them going into these big games and these big moments over the past 5, even longer years, and you always felt that Kevin De Bruyne will have to turn up and have a good game. David Silva will turn up and get a hold of the game. Well, now is that moment where you're looking at Phil Foden. Is he ready? Is it now? Has he got that feeling, that sentiment to go into the stadium, not look at his phone, as Rory says, soak in where he is, but also know that this is the stage for him. He's give his counterpart Jude Bellingham a hug on the one side of the pitch, but now can we all be talking about him after the game? Will this be a game where we say, wow, he knew that this was the stage for Phil Foden?
I don't want to steal this fact from Leon. This game, Leon, is
You
what?
will.
Go on.
No, this is the most played fixture since 2012-13, because obviously they've had so much success, haven't they, in the Champions League, that these two have met so often. It's the most of any teams have met since that stage.
And in one of those games, and I can't remember which one it was, I'm not going to pretend I can remember which one it was, Phil Foden played really, really well, scored.
Yeah, that
Phil Foden
brilliant goal,
has
yeah.
been to the Bernabeu and shown, so I mean, I would imagine, not being a player, I don't know, but I would imagine it's the sort of place where you want to go and play well. So I think Jonathan's right that Cherki's quite an interesting case, because he is the sort of player who I think has the positive ego to want to feel he can go and be the star man at the Bernabeu. But he won't have had many opportunities, if any, while playing for Leon, as Leon often not in the Champions League. So this is kind of his chance to show that this is the biggest stage in club football. This stadium in this competition. It's kind of his chance to prove that he belongs.
Also, just touching back on the Phil Foden with the Kevin De Bruyne, when Foden will have played well, the pressure would have been on Kevin De Bruyne. There'd have been a lot of expectation on him. Phil Foden would have hoped for a performance as a young player and delivered one, and then maybe not in a few times. I think when you look at the squad and the team, Cherki's in that moment now. You're hoping he has a good game, but you need Phil Foden to have a good game. If City are going to get a result. Bernardo Silva as well, and is he ready? I think he is. He's certainly had a tough few months, didn't he, with form, but I think he's very much to the top of his game again.
He stepped up. We were saying, less than 6 weeks ago, that City needed someone other than Erling Haaland and Burnley's defenders to score a goal for them. And Foden's the one who's delivered, really. Doherty to an extent, but Foden the last 6 weeks has been probably their best player.
John, that's the big change in Manchester City now, isn't it? That conversation about reliance on Erling Haaland has been replaced by Foden's back in form, Doku scoring goals, and Cherki all of a sudden, looks like a real star.
Yeah, I think so. And, with the players that Manchester City have not got here, so John Stones isn't here. Rodri is actually here. We've seen him. He's been in the down on the pitch with the players. So the suggestion that he might be a little while away, that suggests to me that he came out here with them. So he must be not a million miles away. So Kovacic as well. So without those players, this is probably this starting lineup. This is probably Manchester City's first choice team at the moment.
Some really nice quotes from, nice depending, unless you're Cherki really, on that Rabona assist that he had against Sunderland.